SOULutions.
On Afternoons with Helen Farmer.
We're celebrating fathers all around the world. It is Father's Day in a few days, and for many of us growing up, we looked at our fathers as superheroes. Well, I know I did. Not everybody did. Everyone's situation is different. But what does it take and mean to be a good father? The responsibility of bringing up another human being their role model, teaching them right from wrong, and still giving them the space to grow up as a free-thinking, independent adults is tough. Being a parent is tough. Now, if you want to share what Father's Day means to you, what your father means to you, or if you're a dad, what's it like for you? Text me on 4001 or WhatsApp on 04871 5500. In the studio with me again, I'm delighted to have Sheem. He's an author, podcaster, and entrepreneur. And his most important role is being a dad to
Cade.
Cade. Shout out to Cade.
Yes.
How old's Cade?
He's 5 now.
Oh, bless him. Is he listening?
I hope so. He will listen to the link after this.
Well, you'll force him to, because he's probably watching cartoons now if he's finished school.
Probably.
So, as a man, how did your father affect the way you are as a dad? I know everyone has good experiences and other people have bad. I know your experience, so tell us about it.
I had 2 experiences because I had a stepfather and a real father.
Okay.
I had a real father who walked out on us when I was young, and I didn't understand because I was in a child's place. Then I had a man step in and show courage and still bring me up and teach me values.
Wow.
But did I appreciate those values? Maybe not at the time because you want your real father there.
Oh.
But as a man, I realized, I looked back and saw who was there and who is there now. My stepfather has since passed, but my real dad has come back into my life, and we were able to have adult conversations to where I now understand where I come from and the lineage, what we're building together to repair the damage that was upon our family and the choices that was made.
So what is it that you've learned from that whole situation that you now input into your own family and being a father of Cade?
That mommy and daddy are just not mommy and daddy, that we have a story too. And we have to understand that the minimalist details of what our child sees is very important, that we need to always be looking to upgrade ourselves and find professionals to give us non-verbal communication skills so they can look at us and learn versus always saying, don't do this, don't do that, listen to this. They watch our actions.
But from your own experience, I'm sure that carried a lot of weight, some baggage, some suppression of emotions. Have you dealt with those? Do you see yourself sometimes passing it on to Cade or try and really avoid doing that to him?
Well, I actually discovered what was wrong with me. My mother told me that I used to eat a lot when I got upset or depressed.
Emotional eating?
I was an emotional eater.
Yeah.
I dealt with it. So now that I know that I'm an emotional eater, I have adopted fasting.
Yeah, you were telling me about this. What is it that you're doing?
Well, lately, it's just recently I started doing more fasting, and I downloaded an app to help me with my journey, to tell me when I should eat and when I should not eat. And the great thing about this is food does not control me right now.
Well, unfortunately, it controls me because the longest fast I've ever done in my entire life is 1.5 days on a juice diet. So we need to talk about this afterwards. Anyway, back to fatherhood. Right.
Absolutely.
They say, I'm not sure if this is true, they say many men change when they become fathers. Is that true?
Many men see the reflections of themselves and the things they don't like about themselves and make sure they do an inventory after they become fathers. They don't always want to pass on what they do not know. Their social learning theory needs to grow. And that's where you look into yourself. That's where you should go out and find people who are professionals in the field you want to be better in. Like I said before, you have to adapt to having better nonverbal communication.
So I had a text come in, and Freddie says, since becoming a father, I feel I carry the weight of the world on my shoulders. I'm 32 years old, and the responsibility I feel towards my family can be overwhelming, and I completely understand that. Mm-hmm. What would you say to him?
I would say, he said it's Freddie, right?
Freddie,
I would say write that weight down on paper and execute the plan. Put the weight down on paper. If you have a plan for your family or yourself, then you can take the proper steps to say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what's next, to take each thing off the table to make the weight even less.
So has being a father made you more emotional?
Yes, it has. It made me more understanding that what pure love is. Your kids are going to love you no matter who you are to the rest of the world. They know you for the love that they have connected with you through your cells, your body, through everything you pass down through the lineage. They love you. Don't mess it up.
So for women, they say your father is your first love, and that's completely true. And unfortunately, because my dad actually was perfection, and I can say that in every area, from the way he treated my mom, the way he treated his family, his business. It's very hard for me to find someone that matches that, right? Mm-hmm. So what does a father mean to a son?
I believe the father, for everyone, he's the foundation.
Yeah, the rock.
When it's done right. When it's done right, the father is the foundation, and then everything else is built upon the foundation about his table of what he has, or what his house, or what his mansion has built. Whatever he has as a foundation, then it's added on to by the woman and the child.
Now, I know that you talk to a lot of other men. What are some of the challenges that men are finding being fathers, in your age range? Are they coming to you about similar issues that you've been able to talk to them about?
Yes, the biggest thing is balance. Men want to be successful, and they want to put their purpose first, but they also want to be at home with their kids. Now, how do you find that balance when you have a demanding work schedule or a demanding career, and you're missing practices, you're missing birthdays because now you're trying to keep the foundation afloat or deal with inflation?
Yeah, that's true. Do you find that fathers of daughters and fathers of sons are different?
Yes.
Tell me. Yeah, I have some opinions on this. Go ahead.
Fathers of sons, I believe, they want to be like their father and someday supersede their father. They want to challenge their father and be better. I believe that. I believe at one point in time, your son will challenge you. Maybe not a negative way or a positive way. They will challenge you for the ownership, for the throne, for the foundation to take over, or to carry on the foundation. A daughter, you have to give me more insight on what a daughter would like. From looking at my wife, and she's a daddy's girl, I believe they want to maintain their security and really love their fathers and show them that they are okay.
There are a lot of, there are a lot of men and women who've had issues with fathers growing up, and this has also affected their relationship choice. What are your thoughts on that?
I was one of them. Like I said before, dealing with not having your father around, trying to seek guidance when you don't have any, leaves you in the dark with a flashlight. For those who are dealing with that, look for professionals to go about what you want. You find someone. I call this the villain and the mentor. You find someone who has more discipline in you and what you're trying to do. Look and see what they're doing. You don't have to know them, but you can see what they practice and follow those steps. And when you reach that goal, you find another person of higher discipline. You keep on climbing, because now you're the start. If you didn't have a father in your life and you want to build a family, you're the start of this next generation. So now you have to prepare yourself. And what you have to do is become a kaleidoscope of different colors and different rays, to where you're able to deal with different things, or be humble and prideful less to seek help.
Okay, now if you want to join in, tell me what you think about your father, or if you are a father, you want to ask any questions to Sheem, do text us on 4001, or you can WhatsApp us on 04871 5500. And we're also going to be finding out how Sheem thinks fathers should discipline their children, why father is the rock of the family, and we've got some more texts coming in as well. So do join in the conversation.
This is Afternoons on Dubai Eye 103.8.
The UAE's #1 talk radio station.
We're talking fathers and fatherhood and Father's Day, which is round the corner. Sheem is in the studio with me. Do text us. Get involved in this conversation. Are you a dad yourself? What are some of the pressures? What are some of the things that you love when it comes to being a dad? Do text us on 4001.
Family Matters.
On Afternoons with Helen Farmer.
So, Sheem, one big thing for me that I learned is I watched my dad and how he treated my mom.
Absolutely.
And I can honestly say, maybe on one hand, since I was little, I can count that many arguments. There really wasn't any, because they worked as a team. But the thing that I found never ended between them, and, they had an arranged marriage. They didn't even date. It was one meeting, right? They're the best marriage. They always showed respect to each other. Even if there was a disagreement, they would show respect. So for me, I look for that in everyone, especially with men. If there's disrespect, I can't handle it. But that's if mum and dad weren't like that, I'd probably be a bit more chilled out, I suppose. I'm not sure. What do you think about when it comes to treating you treating your wife and how it shows in front of your child?
Communication is the best thing he can see from us, that we work together as a team. We're working on a family creed where we say things like respect all things and everything and move with integrity. We say things like with or without. With or without means we're going to do this with or without the assistance of other people, because this family is strong enough to maintain the integrity we need to do it. And once we realize how we treat each other in front of each other, and we practice those habits, those also become habits when no one is looking, when we think no one is watching. It's like we elevate ourselves to a better level of communication where I treat my wife like the beautiful woman she is, the lady she deserves, that she's worked herself to be. Like you have to honor the work that people do on themselves. When you're married or when you're in a relationship, respect their love languages, always pour into them, because you're going to need to take from them just like they need to take from you. And that's where that balance comes at every day.
Yeah, I see the way my brother treats his wife, and it's very similar to my dad. And you just think, wow, you really did learn very, very well. So really, I think women, you need to go and check out the fathers before you start dating anybody. That's what you should do.
Also, how they treat their mothers, too.
Tell me about that.
I believe I've learned how to treat my wife and my mother. My mother is one of the most beautiful people on the planet, and I had to honor that because I seen it. And so when I met my wife, I saw it was from the same sauce. I saw it was from the same cloth. So I honor that, and I see that in her. My wife is one of the most beautiful people. Even if she wasn't my wife, she is one of the most beautiful people and intentional, caring people I've ever met in my life.
Just got a text in from Jess saying, our dad is our hero, our everything. He taught us girls to be independent, strong and wise. And he taught us never to give up. Oh my God, my dad would always say that. And to keep ourselves up to date with everything. I love that, Jess. Thank you so much. We're talking about coaching as parents. Are you following a coach, you said?
Yes, I am. I'm following a coach. She's at Instagram. It's called The Parenting Thing. Her name is Taryn. Me and my wife took some classes, and we learned some great things about ourselves on how we need to communicate with our son or other children, period, through just different time zones of generations of their lives. Like, you have to really have good conversations and understand every child is different. I know many people argue, well, every child is different, but this time around, understand there's a basic level of communication that you can have, a psychology advance on how you treat their children, how do you treat your children. For example.
Yeah, give me some examples what you've been learning.
She said you should never tell your child you're proud of them. But let me tell you why. Because they will always seek for rewards and validation from other people instead of looking into themselves. Now, you should ask them, how did you feel you did today? And let them tell you exactly how they felt. And then you can advance the communication from then. You ever ask a child how they felt instead of telling you you're proud? Because that's your observation. But what is the observation from within, from themselves?
Okay, I completely get that. I do get it, but I do love it when I hear from my mom saying...
Absolutely, we all do. But you ever ask a child, how do you feel you did today?
Right. You're right.
And let them answer.
Yeah.
I adopted that mantra. I learned that in her class, the parenting thing at Instagram. And her name is Taryn, and I'm happy and I'm grateful for that.
No, that actually makes a lot of sense. Tell me what else you've been learning.
Well, I had some company at my house. I had some other kids over, and they, kids get into it. They start to fight. And I told the kid, hey, we got to respect the toys, respect my son's stuff. And the kid looked at me and said, I'm very angry right now, and I want to tear this room apart.
Wow.
Right? And I took it as, okay, look, everybody needs to separate and just go. But she said I handled that incorrectly. I could have handled it. That kid is a blessing because that kid was able to formulate his feelings.
Yeah.
And as an adult, I should have been like, okay, tell me what else you're feeling.
Yeah.
Let's walk this off. Let's have a conversation. And then that goes for other kids. My kid, we have to do the communicative process. And when you don't dive that deep into how to communicate with kids, you're just passing on your social learning theory without advancement. You're already you may be passing on some traumas that you learned that were incorrect from your previous when you were a child.
Yeah, and it's funny because you were talking about allowing that kid to express themselves. And we, at 2:00 today, we did have an hour talking about how men find it hard to express themselves because you're telling kids, be honest. And then as they get older, don't be that honest, Right. And we're all confused.
Right.
But I remember my niece, this is what I love about children. She was going to a birthday party and she was only maybe 4 or 5. And I said, what do you want to write in your card to your friend? Let's say the friend's name was Sarah. She wrote it and she showed me and she said, Dear Sarah, many happy birthday, but nobody likes you in class. And even though I laughed, I thought she is being
Wow.
honest.
Yes.
And I'm going to now tell her, you can't write that, you
Right,
know?
right.
So it's really difficult. I'm an auntie and I found
see,
it
the
hard.
thing is, you have to ask her why she feels that way first.
I know, and I didn't.
Yes.
You're so right. I didn't
And you
do
have
that.
to ask her why, what led her to that situation, hear her out. Because kids they have short memories. But the emotions they feel right away is very transparent. And you have to address it, and that's a teaching moment. Don't miss your teaching moments. Do not miss your teaching moments. It's very important that there's a deeper psychology when it comes to how to communicate. Another example she give us. Do not tell your child, we're going this and that's it. Give them options.
Yeah.
If you give them 2 options, they'll always pick one.
Yeah.
And then we can settle from there.
Well, my mom was very clever. I remember once I said to my mom, she says, we're going to the temple because we used to go every Sunday to the Gurdwara, which is the Sikh temple. And I said, Mom, I can stay at home and pray. I don't need to be in a temple. And you know what she said? She said, you can dance in the house too. You don't need to go to a nightclub. And I was like, okay, I'm coming to the temple, you know?
I deal with small trivial things. My son wanted to take 4 toys in the car. I said, you can only take 3. He said, no, I want to take 4. Why can I take 4? I said, let me give you an option. You can take 0 toys or you can take 3. You can pick one of those 2.
Oh, man. Give me something else you've learned. Give me something else you've learned.
Communication, just listening. I remember one time we were trying to leave the house and my son said, Daddy, wait 5 minutes. I'm doing something. And my social trauma growing up is my parents tell me, come on now, we're leaving now. And I made him get up and like, we're leaving now. I was really aggressive because that's what I learned before I learned different. So the next time around, I analyzed the situation. I said to myself, hey, we need to leave now because we have to go get groceries and we have to make sure the house is maintained. Is that okay with you instead of waiting this extra 5 minutes? He said, yeah, that's what we need to do. You're right. We need to go get groceries. We need to make sure the house is clean and everything together. He followed that versus me saying, come on now. I explained myself. You can't be above explaining yourself to the children so they can get acclimated to who you are and what your standards are, because children are watching you. They're going to know everything you do.
Oh, yeah. But you sound like someone who has a lot of patience. Not every parent has time or patience to speak to their children like that. If they need to go, they need to go.
Development of it. You have to put in the work to develop. If you don't know how to do something, you hire someone who is an expert at it to learn key tips on how you get better. That's how we do anything. If you get hired at a regular job, you first got to learn the probationary period to at least stay in that job and work in that position.
Well, my niece is now 15, and the questions she asks me, I don't even know how to answer them. They're on a teenage level. So we need to talk, and I need to see your parenting coach for aunties. I need some help there. Also, Finn sent us a text saying, great show. My father was a gentleman and a gentleman, and I've never met a man that could live up to him. Finn, I can feel that pain. I'm on the search too, and I feel it for you. Any last tips for fathers, Sheen, before you go?
Don't be afraid to expand your community. Your social learning theory is great, but you need to expand it. Community builds great situations. Find someone who is an expert at what you need to learn and learn from them, adapt it, and take it and make it yours. You can be better every day. Your nonverbal communication, your regular communication, how you eat, how you sleep, how you meditate, how you pray. If you do those things, seek out guidance. Remember, every time you get a job, you learn how to do the job. They teach you. They send someone to teach you, a mentor. Don't be afraid to get a mentor in life and coaching and things you think are trivial or things you think are too hard, because you can do it. You are good enough for right now.
Whoa, that was Sheem. I'm calling him now the father of wisdom. Sheem, thank you so, so much. Thank you. Let's head over to the news center.
She gave me the green light. Now it's time to take flight. Let's go.
Cause I'm out the ordinary. 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 Out the ordinary.